Alright, welcome to another episode of Can You Connect? And this is Mr.WalkThatWalk. And today's episode, we are going to be going over dating somebody who either has Pica disorder, rumination disorder, or avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. And the first one we're going to start off with is Pica. And we're going to be going over people with different stories of dealing with their disorder. The first lady is a Caucasian lady who would often eat plastic, and due to her eating plastic and different things, it would, on her body there was like different like welts on her skin, and she was eating the plastic to the point where she would have to go to the doctors and get certain things surgically removed. So that was causing issues with her health-wise. And at times she would chew the plastic like it was gum to hide it, maybe when she was out in public, that so people wouldn't recognize that she was eating it. However, on some occasions, especially as a kid, that was definitely, some of the kids saw it and teased her for doing those things. But getting older, she'd been able to try to work on certain things. And with her spouse, he often helps her by either, moving the plastic away from her, or sometimes just encouraging her to move the plastic away. So denying herself that need to eat it or chew on it. And at times they'll go over, let's say, when women become pregnant, they may also eat certain things like chalk, soil, or clay. So those are other things that non-food that some women might eat. And we're gonna go over another story who is a Indian lady who will often have to take supplements to help with her iron. And she would often eat sand, so she'll put sand in her mouth and she'll be like chewing on that, or she'll be chewing on ice to the point to where, it was causing her to have like stomach pains. And with the chewing the sand to the point where it was messing with her teeth. So there was a lot of damage with her teeth to the point where when the dentist sent us, to the point to when she went to the dentist and they seen her teeth and went over the damage to her teeth, she felt embarrassed enough to build up the courage to work on going to fix her eating disorder, to the point where she started taking iron. Yeah, she started taking those supplements with her iron to help with her iron, which made her need for eating non-food disappear. So maybe that could be helpful for some people if they're having iron deficiencies, or sometimes it works for some people. We're not going to say one thing works for everybody, but it'll be good to try it out and see what happens. And the next disorder we're going to go over is somebody dealing with rumination disorder. This person was a Caucasian male. He would often throw up after every meal and struggled with, health. So he wasn't getting all the nutrition in his body. And it was to the point where it was like a muscle or tick or muscle spasm every time he was swallowing. So the doctors had to train him to work through that so he's able to swallow and eat his food. And this happened when he was in high school. So when it was high school, this is when he was having those struggles. He was going through multiple therapists, multiple people for over 2 years, to the point where he was almost about to give up, until they finally found the eating disorder people. Because to the point where he was throwing up 30 times a day, regurgitating the stuff having a lot of issues with that. So the eating disorder people teaching him how to work through those muscles and would prevented him from throwing up in the future, to where now he was more healthy, he could go to college, and he's enjoying, his life currently. Another person we're gonna hit on her experience as well. This was an African American lady who had struggles with eating disorders as well. However, she didn't get the help she needed. She was in California, and this was due to the people turning her away for being black and saying that they only help people who are Caucasian. So this was in Berkeley, California. So, sometimes professions don't provide services to everybody and don't help people heal through their eating disorder. So imagine, what is that with dating? What is that with trust? There's a mistrust. Now I can't trust certain people. And like, how does that neglect affect that person? You're getting turned away, pushed aside. You don't feel like you're wanted or needed, or you don't feel like you're important. So those things could also affect the person as well. The other thing we're going to go over is avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. And this was a Caucasian lady, I think, from the U.S. I think everybody lived in the U.S., I think. Maybe not the Indian lady. Maybe she lived in India. Maybe. She used to eat everything as a kid. So as a kid, she ate everything, but at some point she stopped. One day when she was eating mashed potatoes. And now she gags when she tries to eat certain things that she doesn't like. And everybody thought that she was kind of weird for not eating what everybody else was eating. And she would often avoid eating different things or throw things away. So this would kind of cause conflict with her mom because, her mom's cooking for her. She put her effort into cooking. And then she wouldn't eat it, or she'll throw it away. And then her mom's, getting hurt because she felt upset about that. So now there's a discourse and conflict with that, with them. And when she got older, she would avoid events that involved food. So if food was there, she was not going to be there at all. And or if she would go, she would bring her own meal or tell people that she has allergies or so that's why she's not eating certain things, because she has a lot of allergies, which is not true, but saying things to get away from having to eat something. And due to this, she was small. She did not meet, she wasn't meeting her weight, so she was having struggles with her health. And at times she mentioned always being the last person to finish her food and will be forced to eat food in her eating disorder program. So that caused a lot of conflict with that. But when she received therapy for her eating disorder, the therapist, it was better because they would practice bit by bit eating certain things. It wasn't forced like the eating program she was in. So since it wasn't forced, it was a bit easier for her. They would take times like eating each part of the pizza. So that was something helpful for her. But she was still, she still gets anxious about going places and traveling because she doesn't know that what she likes or what she likes to eat is going to be there, or is the food she packed is going to last the whole time. So those are certain concerns with traveling, with going certain places. So since she avoid places and there's food involved in a lot of events, imagine you're not getting those moments to socially interact. You're not getting the chance to meet people. You're not getting the chance to date people. So can you imagine the kind of issues that caused, especially if she was bullied, then that's going to cause issues with trusting people, trusting that people are not going to judge her. So these are just certain things to keep in mind for that. And our last person is going to be a Caucasian male, also from the U.S. He mentioned that this is just strictly with him and his spouse, that he would eat before going out. So they go into a restaurant, he'll eat before they go out to a restaurant that she likes. But in turn, sometimes she'll go to a restaurant that he likes to go to. So they'll take turns going to different restaurants that each other likes. And he will often have to explain to her to, not to take it personal if he doesn't want to eat some of her food. Because sometimes he needs to see the food get made from scratch, from point A to point Z, for him to feel comfortable eating it. And oftentimes that requires him to make it and not her. But he also wanted his wife to, celebrate the times he does, maybe try some new food or do something because that encourages him to eat other things and make more improvements. So celebrating the small victories. So these are just certain things to keep in mind if you're dating somebody who is having certain eating disorders, or if it's your family, or if this is a friend. Just figuring out ways, understanding why they act this way, and then seeing ways of how you can be supportive of them. Even myself, I feel like I had issues with more so the avoidant intake food disorder, such as I will only eat like peanut butter and jelly for a minute as a kid. So that would cause problems with my parents, and me. My mom get frustrated, like, yo, like, eat my stuff, like, da-da-da-da. Like, I was like, nah, I'm just going to eat the peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, it was like, I just cooked this meal. I was like, lucky my brother was there, so at least my brother, he'll eat everything, so he made up for what I wasn't doing, because it took me a minute as a kid to grow out of that and just try different food and taste different food out. It takes a second. Especially once I was traveling and getting exposed to other people's cultures, and especially like you go to somebody else's culture, it's like they be looking at you. You gonna like try it, right? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try it. And I'm gonna force it. Like, yeah, I have to eat this now. Like, I gotta eat it. So that kind of helped as well too. So certain type of exposure helps. There's still things I won't eat, but the list is way smaller than it was when I was a kid. The list was huge. So just certain things to keep in mind. Just work with people and they can work with you. All right. So this will conclude this episode. Of course, we're going to be supporting a Black-owned business. This was a business called Pastels and Pistols. So they're a clothing business. Definitely check out their clothing. I'll put all their information in the description. And of course, support the musician that does the intro and outro to my videos. And for myself, I'm a clinical social worker in the state of Maryland, so I can provide individual, couples, or family therapy. So if you're interested, just send me an email. Okay. So this will conclude it for this episode, and y'all definitely thank you for watching. Y'all have a good rest of the day, night, or afternoon.
ready to become a